chances that I missed. Some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. I took a walk one street over from my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere. I could have ended up just like that broken road, with a dead end in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing.
Hello. Let's get into it. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and this is One Street Over. It is Veteran Service Office Day. I got Abigail Sacic in the house, and she's brought a veteran with us. We got Dennis Roll in the house with us. We're going to see what's happening one street over from where we're living with our veterans today. And welcome. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Well, good.
It's so good. How this microphone, you have to talk into the top of it. You can't sit back.
Doing okay.
Kind of twist over there.
I'll move the microphone
So-
closer so I can relax and talk. How's that?
No, you got to be up on that microphone. There you go. But you're good.
I'm doing okay.
You can't sit back here like this. You got to talk into that microphone. It's good to see you, Dennis. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
And good to see you again, Abigail. What's going on in the world of Veteran Service Office? I mean, it's been when's the last time Gwen came in here? I don't think she's been in here in a while. I was like,
You're going to have to talk to her about that.
Gwen. But anyway, she used to come in here and do radio with me all the time. So
It's too early now.
I know. It's like she doesn't like getting up early.
Or something like that.
Anyway, but welcome to it. I guess you know who Gwen is. If you go to the office and you ever talk to Gwen.
Gwen always welcomes me every time I walk in. I don't even have to knock or go to the window. The door's always open as soon as I clear the door.
You know, that's one thing people don't realize. The Veteran Service Office that we have here, when I first started doing this show, Terry was the one who was working with it, and he was the director, and it was up in the Greenbrier area, and it was in like this little closet in the back of the city
back
hall.
of the building.
Yeah. I mean, truly, it was a little or nothing. And they have built this into something just fabulous. And I remember whenever they were moving into Springfield up, in the county building, and then they got to move across, y'all got to move across the road
To the Plaza building.
to the Plaza building, which is a county building still. But oh my goodness, the way this office has grown and prospered in the way that it has helped so many veterans. The amount of benefits that are coming into this county because of the Veteran Service Office and the work you guys have done for our veterans has been remarkable. And we appreciate you.
It's been outstanding.
Yeah. Have they helped you a lot?
Oh yeah. The well, that and the PACT Act, but this lady sitting next to me helped me get from 10% to full 100% disability.
Really? Where did you serve? What is your what time did you serve in the military?
Okay, well, I swore in August 16th, 1976 into the United States Navy Seabees.
Okay.
Which is an elite force of the Navy called combat construction, not special forces. It's considered an elite force. I served at Gulfport, Mississippi from 77 to 80, and then went active reserve from 80 to 82. I was out 11 years, and Desert Storm broke out, and I went in the United States Air Force Reserve as an air medical evac technician. And ironically, Desert Storm, by the time I finished my full rotation through the hospital and training, Desert Storm was over.
Oh, okay.
So I was this active Air Force Reserve for 6 years.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate your service. And you were saying something about between you and your wife, how many years have you got?
Well, if you add those ones up there, I also worked for the Army as with my medical training background. I got certified as a medical coding.
Okay.
Professional coder through AAPC. And I worked 7 years for the Army as a DOD civilian. My wife was an emergency room technician for the Air Force. I met her during my active duty training during Desert Storm.
Okay.
She's a 20-year retired Air Force veteran, and then she went and got certified as a medical coder as well and did 18 years as a DOD civilian for the Army.
Wow.
So between the two of us, we had 57 years of service to everybody out there.
Thank you for serving. My goodness, that's quite the record, too.
We both considered it an honor to serve. We both received Commander's Medals of Excellence for civilian service. So,
well, that's excellent. Very good. And that's cool. And how long have you been in Robertson County?
I moved here. I transferred up as a coder for Fort Campbell's Blanchfield Army Hospital in February of 2018.
Okay.
And I bought my house on February 28th of 2018. So I've been in Robertson County 8 years now.
A minute. Okay. Well, very good. Well, welcome to it. Where are you originally from?
I grew up in southeastern Ohio on a farm outside of New Concord, Ohio, the hometown of John H. Glenn. If your people remember him, he was the first astronaut to circle the Earth. He was born and raised in New Concord, Ohio.
Okay.
So I grew up in the farming community.
That is cool. Very good. And were you getting your benefits and stuff before you came here, or did this office the one that got you going and got you set up?
This lady sitting next to me is the one that got me my very first approval.
Wow.
Now, a lot of it, and I'm going to give credit to Joe Biden for signing the PACT Act.
What is the PACT? What is that? What is that exactly? Can you explain that?
I can briefly explain it. The PACT Act allows for veterans to be evaluated, rated, and receive compensation through the Veterans Administration for exposures. It's mostly for exposures to chemicals, both clear back to the Vietnam time, which I was stationed at Gulfport, Mississippi with the Seabees in 1977. I arrived in April, fresh out of boot camp, and us new guys out of boot camp had to handle the leaking drums of Agent Orange, White, and Blue, which got me to where I'm at today.
Right.
So the PACT Act covers those also during Iraqi freedom that handled the burn pits and were exposed to the chemicals over there. So it allowed not only people that were in country in Vietnam, which I was denied any VA benefits for 40 years, mostly 40 years. I mean, if you add it up, it's like 38. But anyway, until the PACT Act was signed for those that handled and transported this stuff. Mm-hmm. So he signed that because, his son died from exposures in, I think, Iraqi freedom.
Okay.
Or during that time frame.
I didn't realize that's what took his son. I had not heard that.
Yeah.
That his exposure. I did not know that.
That's why Joe Biden was such that's why he pushed for it.
Okay.
And signed it into law.
I had no idea.
I pretty much covered that one.
Yeah.
The PACT Act also, besides the exposures, that was a major thing and affected so many.
Yep, that's
Right. Okay.
But the PACT Act also, it expanded healthcare to veterans who,
Right.
had the toxic exposures and whatnot. So.
Okay. So, and I mean, and I didn't really know. I've heard it. I hear people talking about it, but I didn't really understand, exactly what it was. So that's very cool. But now, so when you moved here, had you been trying to get access to benefits, or was it something that you heard about with the office? I mean, how did you make your way into their office, and why?
I had tried back in the 80s to apply for VA benefits because of exposures.
Right.
And back in the 80s, if you weren't boots on the ground in Vietnam, you were denied, flat denied. No consideration at all, nothing.
Right.
And then in 2019, there was some legislation that passed through, and I tried to reapply again. And then the VA wanted me to have corroborating witness statements to where I had to try to find people I served with 42 years ago. Denied again. Finally, when, Terry came to speak at the senior center in Springfield on Veterans Day a couple of years back. When did I first start?
Several years back.
2021-ish.
Yeah.
And he was talking and everything, and I told him my story, and he told me to come in.
Yeah.
I did. He put me with this lady, and then this bulldog she's a pit bull, she wouldn't let up.
That's amazing. And I mean, but when you hear these stories all the time where people have been, they've been trying to get this, like, hey, this happened, this was on your watch, you need to step up and do this. And I mean, the horror stories, I grew up, I was a kid during Vietnam, and I talk about my friend who died over there. But I remember so well how the veterans were treated. I mean, it was just, I was at a very impressionable age, and it just infuriated me what was done to our Vietnam veterans. And I've never forgotten it. It's made me such a patriot and such a supporter of the military, because I just saw the absolute heartbreak of what they put you guys through. It just makes me sick. And so nonetheless, as I grew older and, was, coming of age in the 80s and all of that, and in my 20s, it was still being around anybody with the military and hearing the struggle to try to get benefits and do the things when my son started serving, the lack of pay, the things that people think, oh, they go into military and everything's covered. And it's like, no. If you're living on base, they take out so much for mess hall, whether you use it or not, for your room for room and board and all these things. They think, oh, they're just taking care of them. But no, that's not how it works. They're paid so little. And it just is unbelievable the way the military is treated. Really, to this day, they're not paid what they should be paid and compensated. And so now to see veterans being able to say, this happened whenever I was serving, and this needs to be taken care of, and they're finally stepping up and doing it. It's just about time. Just about time. So I'm so tickled that you were able to find the good folks at our VSO office and get the help you deserve.
Too.
Yeah.
I do want to clarify. I was not boots on the ground in Vietnam.
Right.
I was sworn in on the 16th of August and put on active duty. That is Vietnam era, but that got me the Vietnam educational benefits.
Right.
But I was not boots on the ground. I want to make sure I'm not claiming any false valor.
But you had to handle the stuff.
Oh, well, every drum of the chemical agents that the military had went to CBC Gulfport, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And there was over 15,000 drums laying on their side out in the weather that stretched down, I want to say for miles, but I'm sure it was however long a distance it takes for 15,000 drums. But they all had to be handled to move over. They cut the tops off. They put it into railroad cars, and then they shipped it out to burn it offshore. They never considered how'd those drums go from the ground to the truck to get to the railroad cars.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, through Facebook, when I applied with Abigail, I was able to find one of my guys I served with in boot camp and in A school and worked with it on that. He passed away on December 5th, but he had connections to one of my other buddies that we handled the stuff with, who did get me a letter that I sent to Abigail. She immediately posted it. But I mean, come on, they should have been able. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat drums on the VA. They have their stuff.
Well,
but we got it.
But they're finally,
we
finally
got it
there. So
sorry.
So with all that, hearing his story, if you know somebody, I talk to kids all the time about Vietnam and military, and they'll say, "Oh, I had an uncle that served in Vietnam," and I'll say, "Well, how are they doing?" "Oh, they passed away." Da, da, da. And I said, "Did they ever get checked to see if Agent Orange had any kind of contributing factor?" And so many families have not pursued that, and it's a shame because they live wounded. That's it's one of the things that we just can't get. We just recently had Agent Orange Awareness Day. Wasn't it Agent Orange Awareness Day that we had? Or it was Lee Marie could tell you, because they were, I think it's Agent Orange Awareness Day. It was like last week or last Monday.
Okay.
I think. But nonetheless, the fact that we're, raising awareness for it and making sure that, people know what happened and what's going on in the studies that they've done at Vanderbilt for how it affects your DNA.
Oh, they're still studying it.
Oh, it's incredible.
And there's so much that they don't know still.
Yeah.
Which is
They're starting to think that it may have passed on to my child.
They're definitely saying that.
Yeah.
You definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some people speak on that, where if you had children that were born after your exposure, that they absolutely have had
that.
Yeah.
But I
So-
will say the only thing that VA recognizes right now that is passed on is spina bifida,
Okay.
which is
That's
a
the only
deformity
thing that they are saying that is connected.
at the moment. Yeah. And if
Okay.
if kids, or even, whenever it's found, it can be connected to Agent Orange, and VA covers healthcare for children of veterans
Yeah.
in that sense. They don't pay compensation like a percentage, but they will pay for the care of that issue.
Okay. Okay. And one thing too, if you suspect that there's been problems from exposure and you had a parent, you need to get it seen, and documentation is huge, because the more, if you have a certain number of kiddos that were affected,
That's how law changes.
that's how you get things on the book. So
Yes.
if you think that's something that is a possibility, that, or are there other things that y'all are looking into other than spina bifida? Is there anything else that's kind of flagged and saying, hey, if you're a kid of a Vietnam veteran that was exposed to Agent Orange and you have this issue?
At the moment, I don't think there's anything that's that specific
Right.
yet, but the more that studies are done, the more things like that are going to come out.
Okay. Okay. But it's just,
It is important just to get your records like going on
Mhm.
for it, to try to get on the books, like you said,
Mhm.
and make sure that that's becoming known.
Mhm.
And ultimately, like, going to your congressman
Yeah.
is the way that laws get changed.
This
So
is true.
that is important.
But and really in your representatives at the state level, because we've had so much that's been done through the state, because that's how everything got started with the Orange Heart Medal. And Ken, he got that going here locally in Tennessee, and that's how the whole Orange Heart Medal Foundation got started. So what you can do at the state level and then build into the federal level, that's how you make a difference. But we're talking with Abigail and Dennis all about things going on at the Veterans Service Office. And we want to invite you, if you've got any comments or questions, you can, of course, put those up, and let me do a break here, and then we'll continue our conversation. And we want to, after I finish my break, let's talk about specifically some of the things that might be coming up that the office is going to be a part of, and your calendar and those kinds of things, and just remind them of the hours. I always like to do that, about every 20 minutes of the show, just simply because some people will watch for a few minutes or listen for a few minutes and won't be able to stick around and make sure that they know how to reach you. But let's stop for a minute and let's talk about our friends over at Valor Mortgage. If you're a veteran and you have access to VA loans, the opportunities you have through VA loans are remarkable. And if you've never really looked into that and you're a veteran, you need to call Chris and have a conversation with him about all those different possibilities. All those different possibilities and the things that that are available to you through VA loans. They've also got FHA loan options and conventional and jumbo financing available. They have all the tools that you need, no matter what it is that you're doing financially, as far as trying to get to the closing table to buy a first home or a second home, or maybe you just want to invest in your future, or maybe you just want to get a refinance. There are all kinds of options, and the big thing is, you're not a number, you're a neighbor at Valor Mortgage. That's the big thing. When you call these 1-800 numbers, you're just a number, man, and they just spam you and they wear you out. That's not going to be your experience at Valor Mortgage. They're not just in the business of mortgages. They're in the business of making home ownership and all these financial options possible for everyone. And again, whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or investing in your future, Valor Mortgage is ready to serve. You can give them a call at 615-671-9178, 615-671-9178, or you can go to valor.mortgage, and get pre-approved today, because when it matters most, you deserve a lender you can trust. Buy with confidence, buy with Valor. Valor Mortgage, NMLS number 1210804, DBA of Encore Lending Group, NMLS 1249911, equal housing lender, subject to credit approval, rates and terms subject to change without notice, not a commitment to lend, but let them know U-Turn sent you. And continuing with our conversation about all things veterans on Veteran Service Office Day, we try to always visit with the Veteran Service Office on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and that's what this is. Can you believe August is almost over? Oh my goodness, it's going so quick. So what's on y'all's calendar?
Before I mention that, regarding what we were just talking about,
Yep.
the research and study, Mr. Roll pointed out that there is the VA's Million Veteran Program, the MVP program. That's how they're collecting the data for research. They have a number on the VA's website for that, to contact for more information if you do have research that needs to be reported, or your own.
Yeah, if they're a veteran being seen and they don't belong, I encourage them to sign up.
Okay.
This is how we can get the next level of our
changes made.
Our siblings.
Sure.
May be included in some of the medical care.
Okay, and what is that number, Abigail?
The phone number for the Million Veteran Program Research and Development is 866-441-6075. 866-441-6075.
Very good. That's a great point. And that's the way you get this done. And I mean, that's really how all of this happened, is because people kept reporting it. They kept making records, and they kept going on the record, and it made a difference. And you can see it, because, you know, what Dennis is talking about, his experiences in the 80s versus now. That's how it changed, is because people did not just give up. They didn't just stop and let it go. And you have to be like a little bulldog, don't you?
That's
so
right.
Very good.
A pit bull, because when they bite a hold, they don't let go, and she didn't.
I got you. So talk to me about your calendar of things you've got coming up with the Veteran Service Office.
All right. So I got the American Legion calendar going on here. And this is every Wednesday they have the Healing Arts program, the Between the Lines Art Therapy. I think that's a great program.
It is really cool.
It's at 1 p.m. every Wednesday at the Post. So American Legion Post 45 in Greenbrier.
Mm-hmm.
The membership meeting is on Tuesday, September 1st. So first Tuesday of the month, typically. Social time, it starts at 5:30 and the meeting is at 6:30.
Okay.
And then the Legion Riders, the motorcycle group, they meet, let's see, they don't have a date on here, but it's on Saturdays.
Well, and if you need more information, they can just call the Post too.
And you can also go to the Facebook page.
Okay, and that'll have everything posted. Yeah. When is the Coffee and Camaraderie? When does that happen?
It's every third Tuesday of the month.
Third Tuesday, and that's at the Credit Union upstairs.
Yes.
Right over by Tractor Supply, and that's Coffee and Camaraderie.
It's a great meeting. Me and Scott alternate going to that, and depending on the month, we'll have 10 to 20 people there.
Yeah.
And it's like great conversation and just camaraderie. I love it.
Yep.
But it starts at 8:30 on the third Tuesday of the month.
Great, great. So that's something you're going to want to definitely check into and not miss out on. And of course, now we'll have Veterans Day coming up here very quickly, right? No, is it
Veterans Day is in November?
November? But I don't know. It'll be here in a minute.
It'll be here before you know
It'll
it.
be here in a minute. I'm just telling, because I mean, August is almost over, so we're just buzzing right on through. Are y'all going to have any kind of a presence for the fair? Because the fair is coming up. County Fair is starting on the 22nd of September. There's no rides on the Tuesday, y'all. We just say that a lot because we don't want everybody freaking out because there's no rides. But the fair will be happening starting on the 22nd, and we just have so much good stuff going on there. But I feel like, will y'all have any kind of a presence there?
We didn't set up last year.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think we've talked about it.
Okay. Well, but still, that's something that, I'll just kind of put that out there, and you might still
The
could be able
Legion
to.
might be there.
Yeah, that's just it. So, and I mean, there's going to be so much going on with everything happening at the fair, but we'll hope you'll get out there because y'all could get in the parade and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I love the idea of seeing veterans and just all that type of presence in our parades. I just think it's
great.
cool. Yeah. So if you have a mind to, guys, help them out with that. Yeah. And you're right, I need to get them in here because they may actually have something planned.
Yeah.
So very good. Well, what else have you got? Anything else on your calendar?
The auxiliary unit membership meeting. They meet on September 8th. Social time at 5, and then meeting at 6 at the post. And the VFW meeting, the regular meeting, is on September 19th. That's the next one. And their social time starts at 8:45 in the morning that Saturday, and their meeting starts at 9:30.
Okay, very good. Very good. Awesome.
I think that's it.
So, all right, where we want to go from here, guys? We still got a half hour. What else you want to talk about?
Well, I thought of something a minute ago, and now I went to the calendar. So
well, I tell you what, let me go ahead and do another break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue our conversation, and we can just reiterate and go back over, just recap. Because again, a lot of times some folks will, hear the first little bit of the show and then they'll have to step away, or some folks just come in here at the end. But our Veteran Service Office here, I don't think we mentioned that. What are your hours?
Oh, sure.
And location? Just so we've already mentioned that you're in the plaza across from the county building.
The Roberts County Plaza building.
Just down from Mayor Vogel.
We're across the lobby from Mayor Vogel.
I know. Mayor's getting ready to retire, and you're going to have Mayor Hoover. Mayor Hoover. Have you seen much of the new mayor?
Oh, yeah. He's around. He's in and out all the time.
All the time, because he'll take office here just in about another week or so. Yep. I think it's maybe toward the end of next week. I can't remember, but it's in September, like the first week of September, somewhere in the
first or something. Right?
Yeah, it's very soon in September, and all of our new county commissioners and our new county mayor will be sworn in, and Mayor Vogel will be retiring. So. I don't imagine y'all have seen Mayor this week. He's had some treatments.
Oh, he's been around, yeah.
Like yesterday?
Yeah.
Man, you're a Superman, Mayor.
He is.
Yeah, he really is, because he had some pretty intense.
I'm shocked how much we see him, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's always around.
Yeah. So God bless you, buddy. He's fighting hard. He's a tough bird.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so you're there across from the mayor. And what are your hours, young lady?
Sure. So we're there at the Plaza building from 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So we're always around.
Well, and the one thing too, though, is you have
lunchtime.
Well, lunchtime. Y'all do close for lunch?
Well, not on Wednesdays because we're walking. We try to stay open all day, so we just alternate. But we usually close from noon to 1. Unless you have training or something like that.
Okay, and Wednesdays is walk-in Wednesdays.
Yes.
But they recommend that you get an appointment if you come. You really, to walk in, you're not going to be able to see anybody Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday because they have appointments, and these things take a long time. And then you will work from home on one day and Scott one day because that's when you're doing your research and admin work, all of exactly.
So you won't see Scott in office typically on Mondays, and it's me on Fridays.
Very good. But Gwen's there all the time.
Oh, she's the lucky one.
But And she does a beautiful job.
Oh yeah.
So
we need our Gwen.
yes. And it's just a great office. And again, you need to stop by and see them. If you've got any veterans in your life that have not tapped in to what's going on in the Veteran Service Office, encourage them to reach out and get in touch with them, and just to see what the possibilities are when it comes to the benefits that are available to them that they may not be aware of. Let's pause and let's talk about our UPS store. The UPS store, they'll be opening up here in a little bit because, the UPS store, they have hours every single day of the week to serve you. They're going to make sure that you can come in and, yes, drop off your Amazon returns. We all do that, but it is the everything else store too. And what's really cool about their Amazon drop-off stuff, they've got the self-serve kiosk over to the left when you come in. So if you come in, and there's somebody at the counter and you just want to get in and out and drop stuff off, you can do all that effortlessly unless you've got some big item. But if the kiosk will accommodate you, you can take care of it yourself and get right back into your day. But we want to remind you of all the cool things that they've got going on. They've got a special right now, 10% off wide format printing, and also want to remind you too that they are your banner company. They can make, if you've got somebody that's got a birthday coming up, we would, if you're thinking, oh, I'd love to surprise somebody with a banner, go in there and see what they've got, and they'll help you make up birthday banners, or, make those big fathead things that you hold up on a stick, the person said, and you can embarrass your children with. All of those things, they can help you out and make sure that you're covered when it comes to celebrating somebody's special day. Or maybe it's a retirement or an anniversary, whatever it might be. You can really make a splash if you go in and talk to them at the UPS store about all the cool things that they can print. They do faxing. They are notaries in-house. Everybody in there's a notary. That was one of the biggest reliefs for me. And one of the things I really like to talk about, because used to be, if anybody asked me to get something notarized, I'd just kind of moan because it was always a struggle trying to find somebody that was a notary. And then you would get there and they're out to lunch or something like that. That's not a problem at the UPS store. The everything store, the notary store, the print store, the shipping store, they have got you covered, and they've got hours for everyone, open 7 days a week. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 6:30 p.m., Saturday from 9 to 3, and then Sunday from 10 to 3. Hours for everyone. They're right here at 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield. And the number to call if you have a question, 615-384-0093, 615-384-0093. If you have special printing you want to do, you can email it to them and they'll have it done when you get there. So convenient, so courteous. Great folks at the UPS store. Let them know U-Turn sent you. All right. Where do you want to go from here, you guys? What else we got to talk about? Anything else that's occurred to you that you want to make sure people know as we're continuing our conversation?
I just want to make sure that people know that they need to ask, because if you even think that there's a possibility that something that you are struggling with could be caused by your service, you need to come in, because you truly don't know until you start having someone look into it for you.
Exactly.
I mean, yes, it's possible to do your claims and things by yourself, but the likelihood of getting rated on your own is low.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. I think it means everything to have a representative. So come and ask us. Our phone number is 615-382-6506.
Give it to them one more time.
615-382-6506. That's the Roberts County VSO.
And also, too, you can speak to the fact, Dennis, that when you were trying to do it on your own, it just wasn't really getting anywhere, was it?
The paperwork that the VA requires just to make your first simple application is so complex. You need a professional that knows the documentation, like Abigail. And I want to speak, if I may.
Oh, yeah.
The VA used to have a very terrible reputation for medical care.
Right.
Since I've been moved up to 100%, I go to the VA for all my medical treatments now. I was, like I said, a professional medical coder and experienced to the medical field for 7 years. I am receiving the best medical care I've ever received in my life.
Wow.
in my life, and I paid a lot of insurance and
That's
went
amazing.
to a lot of civilian doctors over the last 68 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people that might be apprehensive because of that old reputation. It ain't like that anymore. It is not like that at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's remarkable because people don't realize that the care that you get from the VA is not the VA that you had, 20 years ago. And did you have a lot of experience with VA healthcare before this, or?
My wife's family member, she had an uncle that
Mm-hmm.
was seen back through the 70s and 80s or 60s and 70s, and yeah, his care wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. And I mean, and that is the thing. Now, something that I did not realize is that since you're 100%, do you have to see VA? I mean, is that you have to go there for your care now?
Well, we're retired military. Like I said, my wife's
Right.
A retired Air Force emergency room tech.
Mhm.
So no, I had TRICARE for life as a dependent spouse.
Mm.
I also had options to go civilian medicine because of my employments
Right.
in the past. But no, I don't have to go to the VA. But since the VA picked me up, and after my first initial visits, that's who I go to now for everything.
Okay. Okay.
They're outstanding. I can't say enough good about the Tennessee Valley VA healthcare system. If you're a veteran out there, you need to check it out. And you don't have to be disabled, as far as I know, as a veteran to go, but you might have to meet some other qualifications.
Yes, it's income based unless you're receiving disability.
Right.
So if you make too much, then it's possible not to get VA healthcare.
Okay.
But it's worth applying for VA healthcare and letting them tell you why not if you're not eligible yet.
Okay.
So I will say for I lost my train of thought again. But like you said, VA healthcare, it's come a long way. I hear a lot of good things about it. And like you said, being 100% disabled means that all of your healthcare is covered entirely. That's
Mhm.
everything. Treatments, medications, everything.
Dental,
Dental and
Okay.
vision
that's
is
at
covered
100%. That's the
at
only
100%. But anything over like 50%, you get all of your everything paid for,
except dental.
except dental.
Except dental.
Mhm.
Yeah, everything else though.
If you're over 50%.
hmm
Okay. And well, my son that served is he goes to the VA, and so I was just wondering what kind of care that he's getting. He seems to be fine, but as far as what his level of care is, but
There are people that don't want to go to VA or they have a bad taste in their mouth for VA
Mhm.
because of
Back to
the
that old reputation.
yeah,
But they're I hear good things. I also hear like there are some like bad doctors, just like there's bad doctors anywhere else.
yeah,
You can always ask for a new doctor at VA if you're not
Mhm.
happy with your care. You're
Right.
not stuck, and don't let one determine the whole.
right,
You can't
right.
just make a judgment off of one.
Where all do we have facilities as far as VA? I mean, where are the hospitals? Because I mean, I know we have do we have just one in Nashville?
We have
and then-
one inpatient facility in Nashville. That's the
Okay.
hospital.
You also have Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro as well. Yeah.
Okay. What about? I thought there was something up in Clarksville. There's not.
There's a
The
clinic.
VA clinic is in
There's a
It's
clinic.
outpatient. They don't do
Okay.
they don't have beds. They don't do inpatient stuff.
Because now I thought too that you can go to other clinics though, as far as doing like if you have cold or
Oh,
something
yeah.
like that. If you're doing if you're
Outpatient
in
stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
You're
outpatient stuff, you can go because I mean you see signs on some of the convenient cares and things like that that they take veterans.
Your primary care can be at any of the facilities. So there's the VA Clarksville clinic. There's actually multiple clinics in Clarksville now, I think 2, and they might be opening a 3rd one.
Uh-huh.
There's one in Gallatin, which is where most of our guys go. It's the closest, most convenient one to us in Springfield. And then there's a Charlotte Avenue clinic nearer the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and I have some guys that go there. And then there's the hospital, and they have primary cares there as well.
Okay.
If you want to go to Nashville, most of our people don't want to drive down there.
Right.
But if there's anything that has to be like a surgery or inpatient treatment or anything like that, your primary care is going to send you to Nashville,
Okay. Okay. Well, that's one thing I had never really wasn't really sure exactly, but because because I'm not sure that I thought you could also go to like a local clinic that says we serve veterans and it be covered. Is it not that way?
There is community care that a veteran can request through the VA, and they will help them get set up to go out to what they call community care.
Okay.
That's like one of my conditions. I'll be seeing a
Okay.
specialist at Vanderbilt on
Okay.
September 30th.
Okay. Well, so I thought there was.
There's
And-
also, I think what you're probably thinking of, if you have VA healthcare, you have like a set number of times or whatever per year or something that you can go to like an urgent care.
Yeah.
And it'd be covered by VA.
Okay. Okay. Because I've seen the signs and stuff, and I thought that's convenient because there used to be a time you had to go to the VA hospital in Nashville, and that was about all it was.
And if it's an
And-
emergency, you can go to any emergency room.
Okay. And it will be, okay.
If you're covered under VA healthcare, you can go to any emergency room
And you
for an
can-
emergency.
You can tell them that.
There's certain
you're
requirements. You got to call in, let the VA know that you went within 72 hours. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
there's no, you got to.
and they can bill the VA. basically.
Okay. Okay. Because I've always wondered about that.
Mhm.
Because once you have those benefits, because I mean, trying to go to the specific hospital and all that, that would be just daunting, so I was pretty sure that you could just go.
If you go to an emergency room like that
Mhm.
and you tell them, I'm a veteran, I have VA healthcare, if you're stable enough, they'll just transfer you to VA. Like if you have to be
Yeah.
inpatient, otherwise they're going to take care of the emergency, wherever you go. But
And then transfer you.
if they can transfer you, they're going to take you to VA and
I
say
gotcha.
you'll be inpatient here.
Okay, very good. This is so interesting. I mean, there's so many questions, and it's so funny because with my kid being a veteran, I have questions, but he's like, "Oh, it's fine, Mom." He won't talk to me about
Don't worry
it.
about it.
It's like, "Don't worry about it, Mom." And I'm like, "You're my kid. I worry." Because
Don't
he won't want me talking about his stuff, but he's got some issues, that he's going to have to get dealt with that are, he's too young to be dealing with, and so. I don't know, some kind of a break or something he had when he was,
Yeah.
because he was infantry and all that. So he carried around the big guns and a lot. And so, but nonetheless, he had some injuries and things like that that his mama worries about. And I want to make sure they're being properly taken care of. You know what I mean?
I
'Cause,
think
I mean,
he's
he's-
okay if you.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. I just don't. He is very active, and I want him to always be because as you get older, you have injuries, and the older you get, arthritis settles in them, and all of those things, and
Your joints break down from
Oh,
carrying
yeah.
those heavy guns
Yeah.
through forced marches.
yeah. So nonetheless, I'm glad to know that we do have a good VA because he doesn't tell me anything. So anyway,
I have
but
too many of my veterans that are just too young to be dealing with all
Yeah.
the things that they got.
yeah. So
Especially
I mean,
with the new burn pit exposure and whatnot.
mhm.
It's just, man, they're too young to have cancer,
Yeah.
brain cancer, and things like that. Like,
Fortunately, we don't have anything like that. He is only 31 years old, and they're already talking hip replacement.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
Back to the joints I was talking about.
Well, yeah, but and I didn't know that, and I'm sorry, son, I'm talking about you, but anyway, we won't say any more. But nonetheless, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, and that's something you try to put off in 50s or 60s, and so I'm just like, what in the world? So nonetheless, they beat our soldiers up pretty bad
I was gonna
sometimes.
say our veterans are
Yeah.
really run down.
They are they get run down pretty hard, but nonetheless, if you're having issues, get to your veteran. And fortunately, he has had very good representation with the veteran service office he's worked with. He's not lived
Good.
here since he got back, since he got out and since he got back from his deployment, but he has had good representation, so that's been fortunate. But a lot of people don't.
Oh,
A lot of people don't. I ran into somebody one time that I was talking to, and this may have been when I was, in my political life, whenever I was campaigning, talking to somebody that I was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And they were like, "I'm a veteran service officer." I'm like, "That you stay busy?" And he was like, "Eh." I was like, "Ooh, I wouldn't want you to be mine." He was just really flippant.
yeah.
It was not in this county, of course, but it was in another county, and I'm wanting to say it was up in the Upper Cumberland area.
Okay.
But it was, and he was just, I was just not impressed at all. And I thought, my goodness, what in the world? And
I hear some stuff.
Yeah.
We can't talk about it. We're not going to talk about it with
Yeah,
anybody.
but
I will say other states, they just don't have representatives. Like we have county offices in 95 counties in Tennessee. There's only a couple of really tiny counties in Tennessee that don't have one
right.
of their own. So they share others. But other states just don't have. Like Kentucky have like a regional office.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to, there's only like 3 or 4 in all of Kentucky. And it's just, what?
And it may have been up in, because I'm from Mayfield, and it may have been somebody that it may have not been during my campaign season, but it may have just been, at a visit in Kentucky, because I remember being with my mother one day at Cracker Barrel, and there was a gentleman sitting at a table, and he had on a, veteran of Vietnam hat on. He was sitting there by himself, and I've talked to him for a minute, and it turned out he knew my friend Kenneth. And because I always, especially if they're local from around there, I'm like, hey, did you know Kenneth? And we'll talk for a minute. And then I asked him, I said, how are you doing? And he had cancer.
Yep.
And I asked him, I said, have you been in touch with your veteran service office? Well, no, and it was obvious he wasn't getting the assistance he needed. And so, I mean, it's just, we are so blessed here. That's the big point, is we are so blessed here in Robertson County to have you guys and the work that y'all do. I just can't say enough about it. And obvious, Dennis has moved in, 8 years ago, and he found out that very fact. So, yes.
The VSO office seems to be one of the best kept secrets in the world. I was in line at Kroger's in Springfield, and this was back around 2018. Abigail wasn't in the office because my first application was with Scott when he was still working at a desk. And the lady standing behind me saw some of my issues, and she asked, are you a veteran? I said, yes, I am. Have you applied for any of your veterans benefits? I said, well, yeah, 20 years ago, but they said since I wasn't boots on the ground in Vietnam, I wasn't covered. She gave me her card. She worked in the office with Scott back then in Greenbrier.
Oh, wow.
That's why I knew it was hidden around back in a little cubbyhole.
Yeah.
And since then, that's when I got introduced to the VSO in Tennessee. And Tennessee has, like I said, I'm a big supporter of Abigail. She's super. If you want a Wonder Woman, reach out to her in the office. Nobody else. Nobody else. But it was told to me standing in line at Kroger's.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before because most states, and believe me, I worked for the Army for 7 years. I moved through 4 different states, Colorado, Texas, Alaska, and Tennessee.
And it took coming to Tennessee.
And never heard of any VSO offices until that lady at the Kroger's here in Tennessee.
That is remarkable. That just blows my mind, guys. That blows my mind.
And that's the truth. That's how I
I believe you, Dennis.
I
I believe you 100%. But that's what's incredible. That's what I'm saying. I know people are like, shut up, LaVern. You tell us this every month about the VSO office. This is the reason why, guys, is because we got people moving in constantly that have come in from areas where they don't have a proper, maybe there's a VSO office, a few of them in the state, but they certainly aren't out there going, what can we do to help you? And you've got veterans. Guys, I worked in the Benevolent Center up at the Madison Church of Christ for a few years, and the veterans that came across our threshold that were just, destitute, a lot of them. There's one I can't get out of my mind, bless him. He's since passed, but he was alone. He was just alone. And we have the Patriots House up there. I guess that's what they call it. There is a like an apartment complex that's Patriot Place. That's what they call it. And that we get people in because it's just up the street from the Benevolent Center. They'll come in and, get food assistance and things like that. So there are things out there to help them, but there's so many that didn't get the help they needed when they get out of the military. Maybe they've gotten some alcohol or drug issues. The one that I was mentioning, he was recurring alcoholic, and bless him, he would come in, they would put him in the hospital, and dry him out, and he'd come in and he'd just be awesome. And then a few weeks later, he would be back at it, and he eventually passed. But it's a shame, because you wonder if he could have gotten the help that he really needed. And a lot of the times it's mental health. What about that? I mean, we had my friend, Dr. Stephanie Evans, was in yesterday, and she works with mental health. What about that? How many veterans push back on the mental health aspect of it? Because that's such a big factor.
So many
of them. And they don't want to touch it because they're like, oh, I'm fine. And they're carrying around just layers and layers of stuff that they need to have somebody to talk to about.
The more we talk about it, the better, because the awareness for the mental health issues that veterans have, the more of them feel comfortable enough to come talk about it, to file a claim for it. So many are just afraid that, like, oh, if I tell VA about it, they're going to take my guns away, or they're going to, something like that.
Or incarcerate me, whether you call it institutionalized or whatever, that's a big fear.
Yeah.
Because now they can take you off the street.
Well, but you figure we've got Suicide Awareness Month is September. Mm-hmm. And that's why Dr. Evans was in yesterday, because they're having a 5K run coming up on the 12th of September to raise awareness. And it is just the month that they try to say, we need to really focus on this. But veterans are a huge, huge, huge factor in the suicide numbers that we see. And that's just the heartbreak of it all. I mean, I don't know of any veteran I've ever met that hasn't had somebody that they were associated with at some point that just didn't cope well when they got out. And some of it's just trying to live life as a civilian after, living such a stringent.
They call that adjustment disorder.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it really messes with them. It really messes with them a lot. And, my son even said when he first got out, it's like, it's so weird. Nobody, I don't have to do this. And I don't have a, set schedule and all those kinds of things. Yep. And so he adjusted pretty quickly, but, he did have a moment there. He was like, this is just weird.
That's why military is a personality.
Yes, it is. Very much so. What, you want to say something, Dennis?
Yeah, I wanted to say this, that if you're not a veteran, you won't understand. But believe me when I say this, every person that went in the military is not the person that got out.
Oh, no.
Everyone comes out a different person.
Yes.
Because of the exposures that you're subjected to in that environment. Not just the regimen of the day, but the other exposures that you have. And to some of the veterans, they're very horrific acts of combat.
Well, very much so. And now, as far as my son's, he became just an outstanding person. He really did. Now, he had some things that he dealt with, but he was just a little bit of a wild child. He wasn't a little bit. He was a wild kid, and I tease him. I'm like, man, the day you called me and said, "Hey, Mom," and I was like, "Oh no!" I heard his voice, because I was like, "What have you gotten yourself into?" I joined the Army, Mom. I just got sworn in. I was like, yes, because he was just such a handful, and I knew he needed the discipline.
This will straighten him out.
And it did. It did. He needed the discipline, and he's brilliant young man, and doing phenomenal things now. But boy, there was a time we were like, what in the world? And I remember that, you have those moments. I remember that phone call, because I was standing online waiting to get on a Southwest flight back to Dallas when I was working down in Dallas, back and forth. And I saw the phone ring, and I was like, oh, God love him. Hi, Jenna. It was like, Mom. And it was that kind of cautionary kind of reaction, like, because he didn't really know what I was going to think. Because, it was not the time of, it wasn't under the best circumstances as a nation that I wanted him joining, because it was a scary time, and I was like, but he needed it, and I trust the Lord to watch over him, and he did, and it was all good. But nonetheless, Lee Marie is coming in. That's right. We've got the Go Show coming up. I can't forget Lee Marie is coming in today, and we have the Go Show coming up, another full hour of local programming, so y'all stay with us. She was in here for a few minutes yesterday talking about all the crazy fun schedules they have going on at Well in the Square. And there's an article about Well in the Square and my sweet friend Lee Marie, and staypositive.news. You need to check out. It's excellent. But we're going to pause for a minute and then we'll come back and wrap it up. It's time to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. No matter what you're looking for, whether it's buying or selling. Do you want a historic property? Man, they deal with a lot of historic properties. They deal with properties in Kentucky, in Nashville. They specialize in Roberts County properties, but they really buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky and all over. Because honestly, they've got just such a diverse experience. Like myself, they started in Kentucky. They were born and raised in Kentucky, so they get that. They got family up there. They understand the nuances of living in Kentucky, working in Tennessee. Barry spent 17 years as a media marketing vice president in Nashville. So he knows Nashville very, 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 very well. Rebecca was in radiology for a while. She worked, outside of this industry. But when her kids got to school, she's like, what do I want to do? I want to go into real estate. So she heavily researched the companies to make sure that the company she signed up was the one she's going to stay with. And that has been the case with Exit. And they have been with them a long time. Rebecca's been at this a long time. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. So if you're somebody that thinks you might want to downsize, she says, do not wait until you think you're ready. Get ahead of it, because when you think you're ready, it's going to probably be taxing to you because you're getting older and it just gets hard. So she's, that's one of the things that they always want to push. There's also a new deal right now. If you are somebody that's wanting to buy a home and maybe that down payment's been a little bit rough for you, they do have the Tennessee Housing Development Agency has home ownership for heroes, which has always been active duty military, active duty or veterans, assistance for military, National Guard, veterans, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, all law enforcement, and now they've added teachers to that. So guys, there is help out there for those who want to get those down payments in and have ownership possible for them. Barry and Rebecca would love to talk to you again, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, or whether you want to be a realtor yourself. Reach out to them today. You can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, or you can pick up the old-fashioned phone and give them a call. 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424, and let them know U-Turn sent you. All right, as we wrap it up, let's remind everybody of the hours and how they can get in touch with you.
Sure thing. It's our hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. Our number is 615-382-6506, 615-382-6506.
And again, Monday through Friday, but Wednesdays that's Walk-In Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Get an appointment, and
Please.
reach out to them and come in with an appointment, and you're going to get so much. It's going to work out so much better for you if you'll do that. But Walk-In Wednesdays is there. If you just forget about it, you're just like, I just want to kind of see what this is all about before I make an appointment. Sometimes people like to do that. Mm-hmm. They just like to come in and kind of test the waters and see what's happening before they schedule anything to come in. So Very good. Anything we're forgetting?
For September Mental Health Awareness Month,
Yep.
If you're a veteran and you're struggling, please come and see us.
Yes.
We would love to talk to you about what we can do for you.
You better believe it. And Dennis, any parting thoughts?
I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you and your wife for your wonderful service. We appreciate you.
We considered it an honor to serve this country.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. God bless y'all. And thank you, Abby, for coming in, Abigail, and tell Gwen next month. She's got to get up early.
We'll bug her.
Yeah, we'll make sure. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. We want you to stick around because we got another full hour of local programming coming up with my sweet friend Lee Marie and The Go Show. So don't you go nowhere. Stay right where you are. And The Go Show's coming up next right here on 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a great day.